Hi guys, Ludapisces here. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I recently had a conversation with a brother who used to play the League but doesn't play anymore about the new rune system and how strong some of the Keystones would be should you be able to run two. So I thought I'd do a little tier list on my opinion of which runes would be best if you could run a combination of two Keystones. So I think we're just going to dive right into it and have a look at... I'll do some of the obvious ones first and then I'll work through them. So a few that I think would be ridiculously strong. I've now got to find them, which is unfortunate. Yeah. So first of all, we'll have PTA and Electrocute. I think they have really good synergy. Obviously, after PTA, you'll get the Electrocute proc as well. So you get the buff damage from Electrocute on top of PTA in theory, if that's how they wanted to make it work. All in all, I just think it would be a very potent burst combination of Keystones. The other really strong ones are Lethal Tempo and Halo Blades. Being able to run both of these, you get your Lethal Tempo stacked super quickly. I think generally it would just be very difficult to deal with. Both, maybe not. I'm going to put Dark Harvest and First Strike probably in A tier. Purely on the basis that this combination, you're not guaranteed to get the First Strike gold. Actually, yeah, so I think it'll be a very good combination, but if you're going into a fight, then obviously you're not always going to get Dark Harvest's extra damage off of First Strike. So they might not synergize as, you know, it might not be unlike these ones where whenever you proc them, it's just good. This one might not necessarily be as good at times. However, it's still going to be a very potent combination of runes. The other one, using Electrocute that I was looking for... Well, I mean, you've got Electrocute Halo Blades. Again, it's just like PTA. Very quick proc if you're running something like Tristana, maybe. You can get a lot of damage off that bomb. The other one I was looking for was... I think I've actually forgotten now. We'll come back to it later. I'm sure I'll remind myself later on. Some of the other really potent combinations, if you're a support, you're looking at Airy plus Glacial, really good for enchanters. Airy plus Guardian is another really good enchanter combination. Both these two just allowing you to have both poke and defensive capabilities. For tanks, you also have Aftershock and Guardian. And the big one, and I might actually move these two. Yeah, I mean, the reason I'm playing around with these ones is because you've got this Aftershock plus Glacial Augment. I think I'll move this one up here actually. And then leave... They're all pretty good, actually. Yeah, we'll move this one down. These two can stay. This one can stay. This one can stay. These two down. Yeah. Do I want to do that? I think so. Unless... No, that's fine. We'll leave it at that. This one is such a massive combination. You're taking Aftershock and Glacial, which are both like the two most popular runes when you're looking at sort of tank supports and running them together. I think it's just a really good combination for a lot of tank supports. This one is just amazing for enchanters. You know, if you've got it's really good on Lulu. It's really good on Nami. I mean, Electrocute might still be better, but still. This combination is just incredibly potent for poke support or enchanters. You know, something like Lux could run this. Another combination that I think's probably very strong, but I don't think it's quite on the same level as these ones, is Ari and Comet. Incredible poke combination, but I think they're almost too similar to actually be super useful together. So I might actually move them down because I don't think you get anything from running both of them. I might even put them in Ceta. I just don't think they're that useful together. I think kind of they do way too similar thing. This one, Airy plus Aftershock, absolutely no synergy whatsoever. Airy plus Grasp. It might be runnable if you're playing like Lulu top, you know, or a support of this nature in the top lane. But than that, I don't think it's super useful. Yeah, I think this combination is niche but can be effective. I think it's more effective than this. I don't think it's as effective as these ones though. So yeah. Airy plus First Strike. I mean, it's two decent runes, but I don't ever see them being used in conjunction. I just don't think they synergize well enough. They don't really do anything for each other. Airy plus Spellbook. I think pretty much everything, spoiler for the rest of the video, I think pretty much anything that is running Spellbook is going to be at least B tier. I think Spellbook is so effective on its own that when you're allowed to... Sorry about that. When you're allowed to run it with another Keystone, I think it becomes incredibly potent. Just because you don't lose the stats that you'd get off of a Keystone. First Strike, Aftershock, never going to be used. Aftershock Grasp is probably up here. I think like this is like... Malphite really likes this. Ornn probably really likes this. Any of these sort of tanks that you want to get, like, you know, Scion quite likes this. In some cases. Spellbook, Aftershock, again here. This one... Aftershock on Arcane Comet is a weird one. Because it depends on the champion. Most champions, it's going to be here. Like, nobody cares about this. However, if you're able to run this on, say... Malphite. Like, this is like... Malphite's super happy to be running this, right? He gets the Aftershock. He gets the Aftershock for obviously tanking us whenever he engages, but he also gets the Arcane Comet for poking lane. So I think this one's very, very situational. Not quite as situational as this one, because Ornn, you're never going to be running Arcane Comet. I mean, even Song, you're never going to be running Arcane Comet, right? So I don't think it's anywhere near as good as Aftershock and Grasp, but I actually think there are a few niche circumstances where Arcane Comet plus Aftershock would be a very, very strong combination. Arcane Comet and First Strike, I think it's slightly better than Airy and First Strike because you get extra damage off of Arcane Comet, which plays more into First Strike. However, I don't think it's an incredible combination. Arcane Comet and Glacial. Again, I don't feel like they really synergize. Like, they're two things you want to run together, but they don't synergize. I mean, I guess you could argue that about this. But I feel like this combination in general is like really, really good on a wide range of supports. We'll move this up here purely on the basis that I think you can run it on a lot of champions, right? But it's only ever going to be played on support. And if you're asking me if I wanted to take Glacial Augment plus Arcane Comet, Glacial Augment plus Airy, I'd probably always say Airy because it's just going to benefit me more in lane if I'm playing for a playstyle where Glacial Augment is going to be useful, right? So I think Arcane Comet Glacial Augment is just the worst version of Airy Augment. But I might be wrong. And again, the same thing about Arcane Comet and Grasp. I think it's just the worst version of Airy and Grasp. They're over. I mean, again, it might be something that Malphite could run. You know, there's a few niche champions that could run this. But I think generally, if you're running a combination of these runes, you want to be playing like Karma top, Lulu top, Soraka top lane. And Airy plus Grasp is just going to be better. Comet plus Guardian. Again, I didn't pick up Comet plus Guardian. Comet. Did I have this in the tier list? I thought I did. Aftershock plus Grasp is a really, really good combination. Did I? Okay, we'll leave it there. Yeah. Jesus Christ, I've actually completely lost where I was. Yeah, Aftershock plus Grasp, really, really good combination here. Really, really potent, good on tanks. I think I was supposed to pick up this one. Arcane Comet plus Guardian. I do actually think is a good combination. I actually think it probably comes here. No, that I think is too good. Yeah, Arcane Comet plus Guardian. It's a weird one. Again, it's useful on a subset of champions. Probably supports again, right? But again, you get the same issue that you get with Arcane Comet plus Grasp or anything, you know, a couple of these ones. Airy is just better. There aren't many scenarios where I'd rather have Arcane Comet over Airy when I'm playing in a playstyle that Guardian's going to benefit me, right? You know, if I'm playing Lux, I think I'd rather just have Airy and get the extra shielding than run Arcane Comet for the little bit of damage I'm going to get off of it. Arcane Comet plus Phase Rush, I just don't think they do anything together. They're completely opposing playstyles. They just have no synergy whatsoever, so I don't think it's that useful. I'm actually going to put this down here as well, because again, I don't think it's good. I don't see many scenarios where it's actually getting picked over something else. But yeah, Arcane Comet, Phase Rush. They're both good runes, but together, I just don't see them actually benefiting at all. Again, Arcane Comet plus Summon a Spellbook. Anything with Summon a Spellbook, it's going to end up in at least beta. It's super good. Especially when you can run it with something else. I think most spellbook combinations are probably going to end up in beta, purely on the basis that I can't actually see many combinations where it synergizes super well. There might be one or two later down the line. I think Airy probably might be one of the better ones, because I can imagine this being used on like some supports or maybe some mid laners like Malzahar. Maybe even like Teemo Top or something, but I don't think it's got a massive amount of use cases, and I think it's probably going to go for all of the spellbook cases, but we'll have a look. Conqueror plus Aftershock. Yeah, it doesn't really synergize. It doesn't really do anything together. I mean, there are a few champions that like it, but I just don't see it being a super potent combination. You want to build more AD for Conqueror scaling and then more armor for Aftershock, so you have to build way more to get as much use out of the both of them. Don't think it's great. Conqueror plus Arcane Comet, I don't think does anything. Conqueror plus Dark Harvest might be a little better because it's easier to get them to the Dark Harvest threshold, but again, I don't see it being super good. I can definitely see it being better than with Arcane Comet. I mean, I think even Aftershock's okay, because I think just Arcane Comet with Conqueror is just terrible. I mean, at least Aftershock allows you to get more Conqueror stacks over time. So I can maybe see a use case for it, but I just don't see a use case for, you know, you survive longer with Aftershock, so you can get more Conqueror stacks, the fight lasts longer, etc, etc. But I don't see it being a super powerful combination. Conqueror plus Electrocute. This one's really interesting. I think I'm going to put it here, purely on the basis that there are a lot of... actually... I mean, the burst is nice, and you... Let's argue for the sake of, you know, the benefit of the doubt, Electrocute would give you an extra stack of Conqueror, so... I mean, it's pretty good, but again, they're at odds with each other. One of them is looking for burst, the other one's looking for sustain. So they're not doing super well. I think I'd even move that up here. So it's not doing super well together. Same with Dark Harvest. I can see use cases, but not great. First Strike and Conqueror. No, First Strike is still too bursty for Conqueror to actually get anything off of it. I don't feel like it does enough to... First Strike does enough to benefit Conqueror or vice versa. You could argue that you get slightly extra damage off of First Strike, but if you was looking for extra damage, I'd probably just go like... I mean, even like PTA would be better, right? Or Lethal Tempo. Conqueror and Fleet Footwork, I actually think could be quite an interesting combination because it allows you to play for longer fights. So I'm going to put it here. I think Conqueror plus Fleet Footwork would be really, really strong. You're looking at stuff like Mundo could run it, Akali could run it. You know, some of these sort of fighters that like the little extra bit of HP that Fleet Footwork gives and the extra bit of movement speed that Fleet Footwork gives actually could benefit off of it. And with Conqueror to stack them up in the later fights, I mean, they kind of play off of each other. This one gives you move speed to chase down to give more Conqueror stacks. And this then gives you more AD in turn. I mean, it would only be a slight buff to Fleet Footwork's healing, but it'll be something. Conqueror and Glacial Augment, I just never see getting used. Conqueror and Grasp, I actually think it's another really, really good combination. You just get uber tanky, and it's very, very hard to kill you with the combination of these runes. They don't play... No, I think it's better than this. They don't play into each other too much, but it is good. Conqueror and Guardian's never getting used. Conqueror and Halo Blades, I actually think is really, really strong. Halo Blades allowing you to get way more Conqueror stacks very, very quickly. I am going to make an amendment here because I think this is actually just worse than everything else up here. This is actually way worse than where I put it. Yeah. I can't see this actually being as good as I originally thought. Because again, you've just got Airy. If I'm playing for Glacial Augment, I don't really care about Arcane Comet. Yeah, we'll go with that. I think I'm happier with that one. Yeah. Anyway, Hail of Blades Conqueror. Hail of Blades obviously gives you a very, very, or a relatively quick way to gain Conqueror stacks. So all good there. This combination I think is really, really busted. If you can survive in a fight to proc both of these, you, I think, ascend to godhood. Can you imagine Conqueror Lethal Tempo on Gwen, Aurelia, Jax? Like, who beats them? Genuinely, like, who beats them? I don't think anyone does. I think Conqueror Phase Rush is another really, really powerful combination. I can imagine, like, Darius really, really enjoying this. I can imagine even, like, Garen really, really enjoying this. I think a lot of these top lane fighters, the extra move speed, I mean, even Vladimir, right, could run this sort of combination of runes. Conqueror Predator doesn't really do anything for each other. They just don't synergize at all. Conqueror PTA, I think, might be up here. Because, again, PTA just gives you more damage. And Conqueror allows you to do that more as well. So, if you can proc Conqueror before the PTA stacks run off, then you are living. You're really, really, really happy with that. So, I think, all in all, I think Conqueror PTA is a good combination. I don't think it's as good as, I mean, it's obviously not as good as Lethal Tempo. The two don't scale as hard with each other, but I think it's still very, very potent. Conqueror Airy does nothing for each other. Conqueror Spellbook, again, just inherently a Spellbook thing. Dark Harvest Airy, I just don't see getting used at all. Dark Harvest Aftershock, I don't see getting used at all. Dark Harvest Comet, I could maybe see in certain scenarios, but I am going to talk about this as well now, because this is just a better version of this. Electrocute Comet is just a better version of Dark Harvest Comet. I don't think there's a situation where Dark Harvest actually is better than Electrocute when you're using Arcane Comet as a secondary. I think Electrocute is always better. Electrocute Dark Harvest, the ultimate burst combo. The ultimate burst combo. I mean, the amount of raw damage you can get on this. Can you imagine like maybe a Zoe or a LeBlanc running this? Scariest thing you've ever seen. I think this is an incredible burst combo. Kha'Zix, Kiana, something like that. I think it's just an incredible combo. Dark Harvest Glacial Augment doesn't work. Dark Harvest Grasp doesn't really work. Dark Harvest Guardian doesn't really work. Dark Harvest Hail of Blades is pretty good, but I don't think it's as good as Electrocute. Dark Harvest Phase Rush, I think, is player... no, it's... no, I don't think it's that good. I don't think it's that good. Wait, this should be up here. I feel like this is better than I first assumed. Maybe this can go up here. I mean, I can see it, right? Like, you use Phase Rush to chase them down to get the extra Dark Harvest proc. I can see some synergy there. But not a massive amount, not enough for me to put it any higher than C tier. Predator Dark Harvest, I think, is again very good, but I can't see it being better than than Dark Harvest with Electrocute. Dark Harvest Spellbook, again, it's a Spellbook diff. It inherently gets put in B. Electrocute Area, I can actually see this on some supports, but I don't think it's super useful. But I don't think it's like as good as some of the other area combinations we have. But I do think it's decent. I think this can also be moved up a tier because I think it's just more useful, right? Like, the double poke isn't terrible. But, like, if you're comparing this to this, I think I'm always having this. Like, I'd prefer to have Arcane Comet with Airy than I would with Electrocute with Airy, so... Aftershock and Electrocute, I just don't see ever getting used together. Electrocute First Strike is maybe, like, one of the most giga-busted rune combinations in the game. I mean, the amount of the amount of raw damage that's here, as well as the extra gold off of First Strike, I think is ridiculously strong. Why did I put Dark Harvest? Oh, yeah, never mind, I know exactly why I did that. Electrocute Aftershock, I don't see getting used. Electrocute Grasp, I don't see getting used. Electrocute Guardian. Electrocute Phase Rush, I actually think is, like, a very, very good combination. The ability to get that really, really quick burst and then dip, could probably be quite effective. I think Predator Electrocute is another really effective combination. I think being able to electrocute to really get the Predator burst and then on top of it an electrocute stack is really, really potent. I think it's just a lot of burst, and I think that Predator is a great enabler for you to get your electrocute burst off. Electrocute, Spellbook, again, it's a Spellbook angle. First Strike Glacial, I just don't think it's ever getting used. First Strike Spellbook, again, Spellbook angle. Fleet Footwork, Summon Airy. I feel like this has like a few minimal use cases on like really random champions that just enjoy the extra Fleet Footwork lane sustain. It's just like that really, really weird combination where like I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I can imagine someone finding some like really annoying, frustrating combo with this. Fleet Footwork and Aftershock's never getting used. Fleet Footwork and Arcane Comet. Again, it's like, can you imagine this on like maybe Corki, right? Like you get the extra poke, you get Fleet Footwork procs, so you're safer in lane. I can imagine it being good in really niche scenarios. I feel like Electrocute again is another one where like Fleet Footwork, it doesn't really synergize, but I can imagine it being good. Fleet Footwork First Strike and Fleet Footwork Dark Harvest, I don't think do anything. Fleet Footwork Glacial is again another one I could see some niche combos for. Sorry. And Fleet Footwork, actually I think this is quite good on some tanks. I can imagine Mundo running this, or like maybe some fighters that like the move speed, you know, maybe Darius or Garen, something weird like that. Fleet Footwork Guardian, I see absolutely no use cases for. Fleet Footwork Hail of Blades, again, I don't see many use cases for. Maybe a few. I think it's better than with Guardian. Fleet Footwork Little Tempo, I could actually see being okay. I could actually see it being quite good. I feel like the ability to just keep chasing with Lethal Tempo up, obviously extended range, and then because you can get multiple Fleet Footwork procs off in a fight, you can just keep that move speed up and keep going. Fleet Footwork Phase Rush sounds hilarious to me, and so does Fleet Footwork Predator. These sort of combination of like speed runes just sound funny. I don't know if they'd be good, but they sound fun. And again, this is a relatively subjective tier list. Either way, I could just see synergy. Like I can see them working together. I could see Predator, you Predator rain, you hit them, you get more move speed through Fleet Footwork, and again, you just get extended chase effectively. Fleet Footwork Spellbook, it's a Spellbook diff. Same with Glacial Augment. Grasp and First Strike, I see no correlation. Grasp and Glacial, I see no correlation. Grasp and Guardian. I'm actually going to put both of these here because I feel like there are some really, really niche examples where you could run this combination, like if you're playing like Shen, for either of these, to be honest with you, but it's not incredible. Spellbook plus Grasp is Spellbook diff. Guardian and First Strike, no correlation. Guardian and Glacial, however, will be very, very good on stuff like Lux, Morgana, etc. I feel like there will be a lot of opportunities to work with this. I think Spellbook Guardian is actually possibly the only Spellbook combination. Maybe Airy, actually, now that I look at it. I think Airy and Guardian are actually, like, two of the best. Because they're utility runes, right? Utility Keystones. Maybe Glacier. Because all three of these are utility. And so you just get to utilize more utility. So I'm not, like... I think that it could be quite effective when used in tandem with Spellbook. You know, I think the ability for supports to have sort of, like, teleport... ignite, you know, they can get to lane faster, whatever. I think it can be effective. Hellblades area, I don't see any use for. Hellblades Aftershock, I don't see massive use for. Maybe there's a few niche circumstances like Volibear could run or something ridiculous. Hellblades Aftershock, Arcane Comet, I don't see many use for. I think Hellblades with First Strike is quite good. Obviously, it's a lot of damage to get off very quickly. Hellblades, I mean, I could imagine there's maybe like some like variation of Tristana build or Callista build, right? I think there could be some interesting combinations you find between Hellblades and First Strike. Hellblades Glacial, I don't see a massive amount of use for. Hellblades Phase Rush, however, I think would be a very potent combination. I think the ability to kind of dive in, get 3 very quick attacks of using Hellblades and then dip with Again, the argument for Hail Blades and Phase Rush is the same as the argument for Electrocute and Phase Rush. You get a lot of damage off very quickly, and then you're able to get out very quickly as well. Predator Hail Blades I can see some use cases for, but not many. Hail Blades and Grasp I don't see a huge amount for, neither Hail Blades Guardian. Hail Blades Spellbook, it's a Spellbook angle. Lethal Tempo and Airy, I mean, this is like a really niche. I can imagine if you're playing like on-hit Lulu, right? Like, it's an incredibly niche, shouldn't really work, but I can imagine it working in some cases type combination of runes. Lethal Tempo and Aftershock is literally like, I mean, there's nothing. I've got nothing for this. I mean, maybe like Volibear in 1 in 100 games could run this. But I don't see much use case for it. Lethal Tempo Arcane Comet again is the same. There are a few champions that maybe could run it, but I don't see it being picked massively. Lethal Tempo Dark Harvest is the same. Lethal Tempo Electrocute might actually be a little better. It might actually be a little better, because the scaling attack speed will help you get the second two attacks off for Electrocute, and obviously Electrocute is going to knock them, and then you can like fully stack this, and they're a little bit lower. I don't know. There's a few options. Lethal Tempo First Strike. Again, I think there are certain scenarios where it's usable, but I just don't think it's good. I think there are a few scenarios where it's like, yeah, you could run that, but it's not, you know, it's not amazing. Can't contend with anything up here, so. But I think it's usable. Lethal Tempo Glacial, I can't see any use for. Lethal Tempo Grasp, I can't see any use for. Neither with Guardian. I can see some with Phase Rush, but not a massive amount. Lethal Tempo, obviously Phase Rush will just allow you to sort of kite better or chase better for Lethal Tempo in the end. Lethal Tempo Predator, nothing. Lethal Tempo Spellbook is just up there because Spellbook. Phase Rush Area, I can imagine being a pretty potent combination. Again, this is like another Vladimir, another sort of Vladimir angle. I could see running this. I could see a lot of ranged top laners, you know, Teemo, stuff like that. Running this is kind of like a really annoying poke combination, so I could definitely see this. Phase Rush and Aftershock. There are a few examples, but I mean, you'd use Phase Rush to chase for the Aftershock proc maybe. But again, I don't think it's an incredible. I don't think it's an amazing combination, but I can see some funny scenarios where it can get used. Phase Rush First Strike could actually be pretty interesting. I'm gonna put it up here because I think if you can proc Phase Rush quick enough within First Strike's activation, there are opportunities for you to chase down and actually get a decent amount of damage off. Utilizing First Strike's Phase Rush's move speed. Sorry if you can hear me pouring a drink. I'm thirsty. But yeah, I can imagine Phase Rush having some interesting interactions with First Strike. Phase Rush Glacial Augment, I could see examples of. Again, it's like those support tops, right? Or even just some weird supports in the bot lane, I'm not really sure. Grasp and Phase Rush, I don't really see any for neither Phase Rush and Guardian. Phase Rush and Spellbook. Sorry about that, I had a quick interruption. Where was I? Oh, yeah, I mean Spellbook angle. Predator and Airy, I can't really see many combinations of. Predator, I could actually see Predator. Actually, I think this is quite good because this is like Rammus likes this, Hecarim likes this. I can imagine Volibear running this. I can imagine a lot of these tanks that need the extra move speed to sort of dive in being quite happy to have both of these runes together. So I think that is a B tier set. Predator Comet, I don't see much use for. Predator First Strike, I actually see a lot of use for. Is it A tier worthy though? That's the question. I think so, because the extra burst of Predator is decent. And again, I can see it being quite useful on champions that enjoy the move speed. Poppy's another champion that could run off this as well. Predator Glacial, I see nearly no use for. Nor Predator Grasp. Nor Predator Guardian. Predator Phase Rush, again. Don't think it's good, but could be quite funny. So I'll put it here. In C tier, I think it's not great, but I think, again, the sustained move speed could be quite interesting in fights. So I will put it here. I might actually bump it up. Yeah, I think I'll put it here. I don't think it's as good as it used to. Purely because the amount of times that you can proc Fleet Footwork in a fight. But I do think it is. I don't think it is quite good. Again, Spellbook Angle. Not much else to say. PTA plus Airy is a combination I could see on like some weird supports, but I don't think it's amazing. PTA plus Aftershock, I don't think we'll ever see. PTA plus Comet, I don't think I'd ever see all this. PTA plus First Strike, I actually think is quite good. Because of the extra damage you get off of PTA, then affecting the amount of damage and gold you could get off of First Strike. I actually think this goes up here. I actually think that goes up there. I think it's a really, really powerful combination, actually. Because I think the amount of gold you can rake him off of an extra, like, 10% damage. Might not be amazing, but, I mean, the extra damage is still nice, right? And it's 2 runes that affect your damage outcome. I could see this being played on some, like, maybe, like, Lucian. I think, actually, Lucian would quite like that. I think that's actually a decent combination. I think there are some champions that could benefit of this. Maybe even, like, I could even imagine, like, support Pantheon running it, to some extent. PTA Glacial, I don't see getting used too much. Maybe, again, on, like, Pantheon or something. But other than that, I don't see it hugely useful. PTA Grasp, I actually see being quite useful. I can imagine this on some tanks, like Volibear. I can imagine running it. I can imagine, sort of, I don't know. I can see examples where Grasp plus PTA would be an interesting combination to run and would have, like, decent synergy together. Allowing for you to effectively, you know, if you wanted to build full tank, PTA would cover, like, part of your damage, etc. With the boost. So I could see it being quite useful. PTA Guardian, I don't see getting used. PTA Hella Blades, I think is just fucking incredible. I don't think there's any argument this isn't an incredible pair of runes here. Hella Blades allowing you to proc PTA super, super quickly. Yeah, I think that's incredible. I think PTA Lethal Tempo, again, is very, very good. I don't think it's got quite the same potency, because I don't know if PTA would last long enough for you to truly make use of it. But I still think it would be good. PTA Phase Rush, again, 3-hit combo. I think it's probably as good as Lethal Tempo, if not slightly better. I actually think it is slightly better. I think I'll move this down to B. I think the PTA Phase Rush is better just because you can proc it. It kind of has more of an immediate effect where every time you get PTA Phase Rush, it's going to help you in some way. PTA Lethal Tempo isn't always going to be good because you might get 3 attacks off of PTA and then only get like 1 or 2 attacks off and never really hit the cap of Lethal Tempo. So I don't think it's as good. PTA Predator, I don't think will ever really get used. And then PTA Spellbook, again, I think is a B angle. So that is the finished tier list. Sort of D tier is just runes that I don't think make sense together. Or runes that I just can't see being used together effectively or have very little synergy, etc, etc. C tier being ones with very niche examples where I can understand them being used. A lot of C tier as well is just runes that I think could work together but just have better examples further up. B is when you start getting stuff that like would be genuinely used, I think, a lot of the time. A is like really, really good combinations. You know, I can see them getting used a lot. I think they'd be very, very effective when paired together. And then obviously you've got S tier, which is just like really, really broken. This is the why we don't have dual keystones in the game. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I will leave a link to the tier list. Actually, you can just go on Tier Maker, search for Keystone combination tier list maker if you want to do your own. Since it did show my Twitter at the bottom, I am going to shout it out. Please follow me on Twitter. I have no followers. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will leave you with one last quick look at the tier list. So here's tiers D through B, and here's C through A. S, sorry. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe, like, and comment your own opinions. I'm really, really curious to see if there's any that you think I've got horrifically wrong here, or even just a little bit wrong. I'd love to hear about what you think would actually be like super potent combinations and people's arguments for that, because I think it's a really interesting topic, and I think it's I think a really fun thing to do with this idea would actually be for Riot. Please, Riot, listen to me. This could be a really cool idea. To make an experimental game where they allow us to have 2 Keystones, just so we can, like, see just how powerful these combinations could be. And just see quite how far we could push the limits with the rune system. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. Again, please do tell me if you think I've got any of these wrong. I think it would be really, really interesting to start a conversation. I do have a Discord in my link. Sorry, I have a Discord in my link. I have a Discord link in the description below. Please go to that if you're desperate to tell me your ideas, because I don't necessarily keep up with my YouTube comments. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Hi guys, thanks for watching. If you like the video, please be sure to subscribe and like, as it really helps the channel and shows me if you're enjoying the content I'm making. Please comment anything you want to see me play, and I hope to see you in the next video.